what to text the guy, what to text the girl. I am a big believer in just telling people how you feel and not playing games. So if you like someone, you're interested in spending time with someone, tell them. It's called being intimate, being relational. Hey, I would love to see you again. I would like to go out with you. Just tell people how you feel. That is so important. And then wait to see what they do. I have experience with being attracted to very nice men, kind men that were not that interested in me and that would blow me off. So this video is based on my own experience, and what I discovered for myself is that I didn't understand what my freaking pattern was. All I knew at the time, I was researching trauma bonds, attachment wounds, why doesn't he text me back? But internally, what I felt like, I gotta get this guy. What can I text? Now, I'm not a stalker, like, I'm not extreme. I didn't go like crazy, but I would feel inwardly very distraught. Like, why did I set my sight? So the way it worked for me was I would decide that I liked a certain guy, and then when he blew me off, and that's because they were, honestly, that only happened after it happened in my marriage. I was married to a guy whose level of intimacy was pretty small. And then after that, I went for these younger guys that were just using me for sex pretty much. So I know I don't like being used for sex. Like, that doesn't feel good, okay? And I also would get really distraught. So I'm distracted watching these birds on my balcony. They're so cute. And all I knew was, I had this inner feeling of, if I just let these guys know how much I'm into them, they'll like me. And I was aware enough to know what I was feeling. Like, if I let this person know how much I like them, they will like me. It's almost like a little kid response. If I let mommy and daddy know that I really love you, you will love me. I don't know, it's some kind of very dysfunctional thing. I had to go through a lot of pain and crying and being distraught to finally get to the point where I'm like, I only want to be with people who are nice to me. I only want to be with people who want to be with me. And a lot of that came from actually improving the quality of my female friends. Because I also used to pick women who were codependent, like my mom, a little bit helpless, very sweet women, codependent women. And they would like need me for support. I started leveling up the level of my friendships and allowing myself to receive more and expect more from the women. And then I started to think, well, these women are so capable and competent and nice. Why don't I start liking men that are at that same competence and niceness? These women are returning my texts. I want guys to return my texts. These women are nice to me. These men should be nice to me. Okay, so that was one step I took. The other one was just listening to different friends of mine, because different people go for different type of dysfunctional relationships. And I had this one friend that was in a relationship with someone where they argued a lot. Now, I don't like arguing. I don't do arguing and fighting. Like, that's not my deal. But it was her deal. And she would engage with this guy and argue a lot. And when I told her about this guy I liked who blew me off, she was just shocked. She said, why would you want to be with someone who blows you off? And that made me think. I'm like, oh, you mean that's not like a thing for everyone? That's just something with me. Why am I attracted to guys that blow me off? And also, why does she like guys she has to fight with? Why does she like to fight? I hope these are helpful tips for you guys, because I tell you, there is nothing more. You know, our uh, people can upset us or be pleasant, but there's nothing more important than the people we choose to be in our inner circle, the people that live with us, the people that we're in close relationship with, our immediate family, or our partners and our lovers. And to the extent that I have wounds or they have wounds that I allow, it can just make people's life horrible. I was so distraught. I would get so distraught. And I would say I've had a very easy life. And all the pain I've had in my life, honestly, it was pain I fucking brought on myself by wanting men whose capacity for intimacy, I chose them because my capacity for intimacy was not at par. I chose men that I ended up feeling very hurt. Not because they hit me, because they just didn't want to be. I wanted to be with guys who didn't want to be with me or wanted a lower level of intimacy than me. Dysfunctional. I'm gonna call myself, I was a little bit dysfunctional. Not that bad, but dysfunctional enough to cause myself a lot of pain. I brought on my own freaking pain. Being married to a guy whose level for intimacy that, if you're married, your level for intimacy, with your coworkers, you're not going to be that intimate, but with your wife, hopefully you can be. Have moments of intimacy. Well, his greatest moments of intimacy were like this. And sexually, it was like this. I just couldn't do it anymore. But for so many years, I tried to figure out how to be okay with it. I hope this video isn't too long. I was going to start over, but let me just keep going. So after my divorce, I started hooking up with these younger guys. And to this day, I feel very trapped around men my age. I don't know if I have a problem, but today I was walking along the beach in Carlsbad, and every time when I see men my age or older, I try to imagine myself dating them just to see, because I should like men my age. And when I see them, well, usually I feel repulsed physically I don't want guys touching me that I don't know. But also I immediately start to feel very trapped. It reminds me of being married. I don't know what that is. If you guys want to drop any hints for me why I feel trapped, maybe it's just me knowing they're not for me. I have no idea. I would love to know, because I should be attracted to old men, but I'm not. But I got out of my car and I was rounding the corner, and this young guy, he must have been in his early 20s. He was a waiter. He was walking into work. And, I almost bumped into him, so I just kind of gave him a smile, just as a friendly, and he said hi, and it was so nice. I'm like, what a pleasant young man. I get along so well with my younger clients. I can talk with them for so long. I feel so free around younger men. I don't feel trapped, is a lot of what it is for me. But I don't want to date someone in his 20s. But those are the guys I was going after my divorce. I didn't even know that younger men like that liked older women, and they were such a refreshing change from my ex-husband, who was like 60, and because he's blonde, his face was very wrinkly, and these guys had like nice faces and everything working, and they were so passionate, in a way that my ex-husband wasn't. They were very passionate with me in bed, which is what I really liked. But they would blow me off, and I would cry about them. And I kept trying to figure out, because I was doing a lot of personal development work at the time. I was trying to figure out, it never occurred to me that I should stop liking men who blew me off. That never occurred to me. The only thing I was trying to figure out was, why are they blowing me off? First of all, it makes no sense. Why? Because I'm fun and I'm nice. Why were they ignoring me? Number two, what skill set do I need to develop to be okay with it. Can you figure out how fucked up I was thinking? I was so lost. This is why I'm making these videos, you guys, okay? As embarrassing as it is, I tell myself, if I went through this, I'm an intelligent, competent person. There are other people going through this I can help. I kept trying to figure out, what do I need to do to be able to handle this better? How can I make love to a man, be very open and receptive to him, and be okay with him blowing me off? What skill set do I need to be okay with that? Because that's how they are, that's how it is, and I am the problem. I'm the problem. I have a low skill set for having sex with men that blow me off. That's really what I thought. And get this, I don't know if I should laugh or cry from my old self. You know, I want to do both. I want to laugh because it's funny, and I want to cry for myself for being so lost. I thought, and I was hooking up with a lot of Marines, and there were a couple older Marines, like closer to my age, that wanted to go out with me. And I was thinking, yeah, I need to date a Marine, because the Marines are gone a lot. Not just the deployments, they're constantly out in the field training. And not only that, depending on how high up they are, they can be told when they can leave work. Like, they might think they get off at 6, but they don't know for sure till they're told. They have to get up early and be ready for certain meetings, and often wait for hours till their senior officer comes along. Like, you have very little freedom. They can call you last minute for duty. They can tell you on a dime, you're gonna have to go on a deployment in 2 days. Like, they can do all kinds of stuff. They have very little freedom, and they're gone a lot. And I thought, I need to date a Marine, because I need to develop a skill set of handling being left. I was going to use the word abandoned, but adults can't be abandoned. I need to learn how to handle being left. And when I say all this, and the way I'm talking now, it sounds more probably like a little kid trying to figure out how to be okay with being abandoned, how to cope with being abandoned. And my strategies I use with guys, like with my ex-husband, with these other guys. I'm not like a high drama person. I mostly keep things to myself. Like, how can I deal with this? How can I be okay with this is what I do. Or with these guys, if I just let this guy know how much I like him, of course he'll like me, which works with your parents, but doesn't work in dating. Or if I could just say the right thing, then they'd want to, or if I could just figure out why this makes no sense. And none of that works. I started watching different videos. I started reading about trauma bonds and why was I attaching to people who didn't want me, and trying to be okay with this whole time they were blowing me off. I mean, here's the thing, you guys. We're all adults here. Okay, what does a healthy relationship, a healthy friendship look like? It's easy and it's fun, and if you have a problem, you're both invested in finding a solution. In a healthy relationship, people don't blow each other off. In a healthy relationship, people lean in, they connect, they talk about things, they work things out. Like, it feels peaceful, it feels calm, it feels fun. You're not going to be running around distraught all the time or trying to figure out how you should be okay with being treated like nothing or like crap. If you're trying to figure out how to be okay with being treated like crap, that's not good. Why are you with that person? Now, I'm not speaking about people who have like insecure attachment. That would be a different video. Like, I'm just a normally healthy person. I'm not like, you gotta text me 10 times a day. Like, when I was married, we didn't text each other at all. My husband was like, I'm at work, I don't want to talk. I'm like, that's fine, I'll see you tonight. Like, so I'm not like needy. That's a different video for people who are really needy. They have to learn how, everybody has to learn how to be comfortable alone and trust that the people that are their friends are going to come back, okay? But this video is more about you are trying to be okay with people who neglect you. And in the case of if you're married, maybe you're trying different things to figure out how to get this person to come in a little bit. If I could just say the right thing, if I could just get them to this course, maybe he'll change after we're married. I did that. Maybe he'll change after I have his children. Maybe he'll change if I get really angry and tell him I'm going to leave him. Fuck it, I'm just going to leave him. In the end, fuck it. Just done. But then I took those same patterns, you know. It took me a long time to wake up to these patterns. And the good thing is that I did wake up to it. And the good thing is you can learn from my mistakes. We didn't have YouTube when I was younger. I didn't know about all the stuff. See, none of us have to learn to be okay with being ignored. We don't have to like it ever. In fact, I encourage you to not like it. I'm going to encourage you to never like being ignored. Or, I mean, it doesn't mean we go off on people, but we're like, you know, that person's ignoring me and I'm going to speak up. We have to learn to speak up in a nice way. Like, it seems like I'm being ignored here and I don't like it. Oh, I can always revert back to, I don't like this. You know? It's very innocent. Like, I don't like this. Even if I don't know anything else to say, or I'm really triggered right now. Those are like some good fallback statements for me. Like, I'm kind of triggered right now. I don't know why. I'm kind of triggered right now. Or I don't like this. I don't like being ignored. I don't. And I spent, you know, if I even go back, I don't even know where this came from. I'm just going to go on in case anybody wants to listen. I remember going way back. I mean, I've had boyfriends that were very nice to me that I was in a relationship with. And I've also experienced having crushes on boys when I was like in 3rd grade and when I was 13. I've had crushes on boys and men where they didn't even know I existed or they were not interested in me. And I would just like long for them. It was horrible. I don't even know why it was almost like I saw a guy and I'm like, that's my guy. That's my guy. He's cute. In 3rd grade, it was this guy with freckles named Brian. He had all these freckles. I loved his freckles. He was so cute. And he didn't even know I existed. And I would just daydream about him. And then when I was 13, I had a huge crush on this guy I met at a meditation course. And he lived in another state. I would write him for a while. He wouldn't write back. Every day I would look for a letter. And they hardly ever came. And when one came, I was so excited. And I would read it over and over and over. Like, what the fuck? What was that? And so it was almost like I would latch on to this guy. Not latch on, but I would find an object of affection. They were objects of affection. I didn't know them. There was no relationship. I'm going to say I objectified them as love objects. And then I would long for them. And that longing that I felt, even though it was painful, it was the only way I could feel anything for a man, was in this longing way. I don't know still where that came from, because I don't have any memories of longing for my parents' affection. I have no memories of longing for my parents' affection or fawning for my parents' affection. And this is why I'm so puzzled by it. My parents were very nice to me, but my dad was a little bit volatile. I was his favorite. So I don't think he ever got mad at me more than once. But I didn't like him because he was kind of bossy. And maybe I grew up a little bit entitled of anything, because when my parents made me do stuff I didn't want to do, and I didn't have chores. We were just allowed to play as children. But like if my mom sent me to my room without dinner, like 10 minutes later she'd call me back down, because she couldn't stay. She would just feel bad. But I just remember when my parents made me do stuff I didn't want, I would just get mad at them, like, how dare these adults tell me what to do. So I think I was a little bit entitled, actually. So I don't know where this fawning came from, unless it was me copying what I saw my mom do to my dad. And I didn't even see my parents interact that much either, because my dad worked a lot of hours. He was a pathologist and a cancer researcher, and he was really into his career, and he worked really long hours. And when he wasn't working, he was hanging out. He would go for weeks at a time and visit one of his single friends, and they would just womanize, I found out later. Didn't see my parents around interacting very much at all, but I must have picked up enough to see my mom fawning over him. Because he would say stuff like, say my mom's name was Bettina. I'm making up a name because this is in Germany. Bettina, hol mir ein Bier. Hol mir ein Bier. Go get me a beer. He would just boss her around like that. But I only saw my parents hugging once in my life. I don't think, my dad was not happily married to my mom, and my mom was really trying for his affection. But I'm trying to figure out where this idea came from, that I like to be with men who would blow me off, and that I would fawn for their affection, that I would be so distraught, because I don't remember being distraught around my parents' affection at all. My parents divorced when I was 10, and I was so happy because they had started arguing a lot, and I didn't like the arguing. There was a new thing in our house, all this yelling. And so when they decided to divorce, I was so relieved. I'm like, I know I'm supposed to feel sad that my parents are divorcing, but I'm glad the yelling will stop. And my dad would do stuff like, my sister and brother and I, we would speak English together after we moved to the US, not German or Farsi. And we would just be like playing and laughing and talking. And then he would come out of nowhere and yell at us. Farsi haf bezan, speak Farsi. It's like, you're such an ass. Like, stop yelling at us, is what I was thinking. You're such an ass. So after my parents divorced, my dad kept saying the hardest thing about the divorce was not seeing his children that much. And I thought, then why did you divorce? And he kept wanting us to come over, and we didn't. For years, I didn't go over there. He kept trying to get us to come over. That year I lived with my grandfather in Germany. He came to Germany to see me. Like, he was always trying to spend time with us because he really loved being around his children. But I just didn't like being around. I don't have any memories of fawning after my dad. I just remember thinking he was an ass, and I just wanted to get away from him, even though he was nice to me. And my mom was always this sweet, nourishing, affectionate woman. So I have trouble seeing, I've thought about this a lot, what set me up to go for unavailable men and want them. Because I don't remember wanting my parents. And even a couple years ago, I was like, okay, let me remember being a baby. At some point, I wanted my dad's affection. Let me go way back in time because I need to feel that again. I need to have some feelings about this, positive feelings, rather than get the fuck away from me. And I could never pull it up, but now I know that children don't usually remember anything before age 4. I was my dad's favorite child. He was so happy when he had me. So I don't know where this came from. This fawning. Maybe when he was gone a lot, I missed him. I don't really know. I don't know what happened to me to set up this pattern. But if I were working with someone who was going after this pattern, I would guess that it was something about they got used to working for their parents' love and affection. But I didn't have to work for my parents' love and affection. I was smart, I was funny. I mean, I was smart and I was like a pretty good kid. So I didn't have to work for their affection. I was really good in school. Like I was one of the best students, not because I had to perform, but I liked school. I was good at reading. And what they did in Germany, that you guys will think this is so bad, they would have us stand up to read out of a book. And when you make a mistake, you sit down. Well, I was such a good reader. My mom had taught me to read. I was such a good reader. I would read on and on and on. It was kind of awkward because I was like, what about these other kids? And then some of these kids were bad readers. So after two words, they had to sit down. Not very woke, is it? And I'm like, well, those kids need more help reading. But they're not getting a chance. This is like not very nice. I don't need help reading. Why am I reading so much? It's a very strange way of teaching, but nonetheless, I don't know what set me up for this. All I can think of now is that it's what I saw happen. I must have seen my mom fawning after my dad subconsciously when I was very little that I don't remember. That's all I can think of. And I remember a couple times she did it when I was already older, like 9 or 10 or 11. And that's all I remember. And I think I might have just copied my mom, not even knowing I was copying her. So the point of this video is like, if you can see some of your patterns, see it's our patterns that attract, it's our patterns that say, this is the kind of relationship I will accept. This is the kind of treatment I will accept. I'm okay with this treatment. Or even being in relationships where you're like, I'm not really happy here and I don't know why. I got to figure out how to be happy in this relationship that is like an invalidating relationship. I got to figure out, are you a caretaker? Are you a runner? Are you like trying to control someone to change them? Are you fawning to get someone to love you? All these things make, and how I coped in my marriage, I had to develop a bunch of coping mechanisms. I am so much happier now. I went through my photo album the other day and I posted some pictures for you guys. I kind of hid my kids and my ex-husband's faces. I'm just so much happier now because no one is ignoring me. No one's invalidating me. No one's keeping me trapped. I can say what I want. Even with my clients, I'm free. I really feel free now. I really, really feel free. And I would love to hear from some of you in the comments if you have identified for yourself any strategies that maybe you don't have to share your own, but maybe strategies that you've seen other people use or your parents use or friends use. Or think about yourself, strategies you've used to, deal with being in a relationship with people. Like, do you fight? Are you a fighter? Are you, you argue with people? Do you run away and shut down? Do you just disconnect? Do you fawn, try to get people to love you and engage with you? That was me, the fawner, you know. My mom was a big fawner. I was a little fawner. Like, how can I get this guy to connect with me? Why doesn't he want to connect with me? Well, the truth of it is some people just don't want to connect. They're uncomfortable with that. And look, I'm going to leave with this. I've been trying to work on this shit for like 10 years. Over 10 years, 13 years. And I now just finally figured it out. And I'm trying. And I've done a bunch of coaching. But imagine being with someone who's not even trying. What are the chances they're ever going to change? None. 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 And that's why I keep talking about being in relationships with people who are not doing any work on themselves. It's not going to get any better, in my opinion. Thank you for watching my video. I was trying to make a video short, and I would always go to a minute 10 seconds. I'm like, I think I gotta make a longer video, and that'll take 5 minutes. And look, but I will tell you this one more thing. I changed my mind. One more thing. When there's somebody over here that I talk to, like I had somebody over here Saturday, and we just talked for hours. I don't make videos then. The reason I make so many videos, you guys, is because I don't have anyone to talk to. And yes, I have friends, but none of them, when I talk to my friends, they're talking, I'm talking, a bunch of different stuff. I don't have a single friend that would want to listen to me talk for 30 or 45 minutes in a day, just sharing like I'm sharing now. I just, you know, friendships are more like conversational. So this is like my therapy. This is kind of like going to a 12-step meeting and doing a share. Except it's like way longer. But I just figure I make these videos for myself, and I hope people get something out of it. And, you know, learning from me, or maybe my voice is soothing, or maybe I'm a mother figure. You know, I'm also a mother figure. Some people never had a nice mother, and I'm a nice mother. I'm a mother figure, you know, I'm a mom, I'm a woman, I'm older. Like, there are different qualities about me that people might get something out of, and learning from my experience, me sharing vulnerably, you know, and but I also make these videos for me because, like I said, I have no one to talk to. Thank you so much for watching my video.